Welcome to Makati House, a professional network for Filipinos. Our mission is to promote the spirit of Filipinos helping Filipinos. Topics being discussed in this club are business, economics, politics, technology, and the development of the Philippine community. Don't forget the drill. Tap on the little green house up top to follow the club. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter under Makati House. Also, if you found the speakers on the stage to be of great value, please give them the digital currency of a follow. And once again, welcome to Makati House.
Yes, I can. Am I coming in clear? Okay, good, good. Yes. It's a group, a Filipino professional network. We started
Welcome to Makati
on
House, a
Clubhouse.
professional
It
network for
started on
Filipinos.
Clubhouse.
Our mission
And
is to promote the spirit of
we have a
Filipinos
regular
helping
room on
Filipinos.
Clubhouse every
Topics being discussed in
evening
this
or
club
most evenings,
are business,
8 p.m.
economics, politics,
And we talk about
technology, and the development
business,
of the Philippine
startups,
community. Don't
tech.
forget the drill. Tap on the little green house up top to follow the club. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
No,
Makati
I
House.
came in
Also,
because I'm an
if you found
Android
the speakers
user.
on the stage to be of
So
great value,
I
please give them the
I came
digital
in late.
currency of a follow. And once again, welcome to Makati House.
So with spaces, it is quite buggy, but on with uh, with with spaces it's buggy, but there are more users that you can reach or talk to on Twitter Spaces. Clubhouse is more stable, but people got tired of using it, or there are new users because you have to create a new account, and you have to create a new social graph, But also my other complaint with spaces, despite the crashes, is finding interesting spaces to join. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It seems to be stable when there are less users. That's what I think what happened when, because maybe there were we had over 150 users last time. It became unstable for the speakers, because I noticed that
Welcome to
every time
Makati
I would
House,
speak
a
or
professional
somebody else
network
would
for
speak,
Filipinos. Our mission
we
is
would
to
get cut
promote the
out.
spirit of Filipinos helping Filipinos. Topics being discussed in this club are business, economics, politics, technology, and the development of the Philippine community. Don't forget the drill. Tap on the little green house
Yeah.
up top to follow the club.
Hopefully it gets
Like us on
improved
Facebook
soon
and follow
or
us on
gets fixed,
Instagram and Twitter
because
under
I really
Makati
like
House.
having dark
Also,
mode.
if you found the
Clubhouse kasi
speakers
wala
on
pa
the
rin dark
stage
mode
to
eh.
be of great value, please give them the digital currency of a follow. And once again, welcome to Makati House.
Oo. Kasi like some of my sometimes my phone gets LCD burn already. I have ghosting sometimes if I run it for so long. So just an FYI to everyone, we will be I don't know if I can do this. I'll try to host restream the audio to the Facebook and YouTube and our Twitter page as well. Just so we can reach more people. Wait lang, let me just set up the stream. And the reason that COMELEC is doing this, okay. Before, the preparation that I did for this stream is very little, because I just found out about 6 hours ago that this is going to happen. So I watched a bit of the first public trusted build of the automated election system. So the reason that the COMELEC is doing this, so people can see that when the system is built, that's it. So the people can see that the system is built right in front of their own eyes, and it is on public record. So the Smartmatic automated election system has a lot of components. Let me just open the link that I had before earlier that I found. It's from another customer of Smartmatic. Another customer of Smartmatic, which was I guess it's a redacted version of an inquiry to Smartmatic's proposal. It is and the inquiring party is the state of Georgia in the US. And so I now I have some idea of how the automated election system of Smartmatic is. So uh the whole thing is the whole thing that Smartmatic sells, it's called an election management platform, or EMP for short. And then in their proposal to the state of Georgia, they had other components. First is the election configuration system, or ECS, and there is the results management system, RMS, and election night reporting, ENR. And then there is election 360, that's the management system. And then there's an online ballot delivery, OBD. So ECS, the election configuration system, this is the software that will configure the that will configure the um the the machines used by the election management system. So this includes the vote counting machines, and what else? The vote counting machines, I think there's also uh sub centralized, or like maybe middle nodes. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing here. So yeah, that's what it does. And I think that's something that COMELEC contractors or technicians have been trained to use, or COMELEC admins. Okay, so may music na yung COMELEC stream. Uh, Let me see if kailangan ko lang. Okay. Alright, there. Interestingly, COMELEC now has they seem to have a jingle for the election. So, try ko lang. Let me look for another device where I can play the COMELEC stream. Never mind. Sige. I'll just describe what's going on screen, no? And then there's the result management system. So this collects the results, and then there's the election night reporting. This is the system that displays the election results to reporters. I think this is the same thing that happened in 2019 that had an issue. I just found out about this today. That there, or maybe I forgot about it. So I looked it up, and there was a 7-hour glitch in the 2019 elections, and that time the what they did, the problem this caused was the news agencies and reporters were not seeing updated election results. So they were sending while that was down, what they did was they allowed some of the reporters inside the data center, if I'm not mistaken, because it took some time to fix the glitch. So yan yung that's part of the system. Election 360 is like the brains of the system. That's how I understand it. And yung online ballot delivery, it's another product that Smartmatic is actually trying to sell. It's I don't know if it's relevant, but if you want to know what other products they're trying to do, or they're trying to sell, parang it's a web-based ballot. Now you can select, you can pre-print. The way I understand it is you can pre-print your ballot. So they'll just give you a QR code after you've voted online. They'll give you a QR code that you can print and bring it to the poll. So isa-scan na lang yon and your vote's done. So mas mabilis. And in the proposal, they have two types of usage for the automated election system. Um, the first type is the one that we have here in the Philippines, and the second type is the type where you have maybe a touch screen, or some way to bale ano na siya, completely electronic. So you interface with the computer. You don't need to bring a pen or a marker for your to mark your ballot, and then it will print you uh, a receipt. And the other note is it's only not Smartmatic is not the only well-developed automated election software provider. The US also has other software providers for automated election systems. So in the first trusted build, what they showed was, I think what they managed to do, the build that they managed to do was the EMS. It's the election management software. Or if you look up the Smartmatic product line, if I'm not mistaken, that's the Election 360. So that's the admin software for the COMELEC staff. And that's also where they will enter the supposed pins, and that will go through the ECS as well. And in the trusted builds, they will be only showing the builds of the EMS, the CCS, and the VCM. So the VCM means stands for vote counting machine, and the CCS is oh gosh, I forgot what it stood for. It was asked multiple times in the last trusted build. Let me look that up really quick. Okay, yeah, it stands for CCS stands for Canvassing and Consolidation Software. And like I said, there are other vendors for automated election systems, but if you ask why does COMELEC keep contracting or paying Smartmatic for our automated election system, one reason I can think of is the cost of ownership and also the transfer of knowledge. So if you want an analogy, for example, if you buy an iPhone or an iPad, eventually you'll want to buy the AirPods, also an Apple charger or a Mac, or a lightning cable. When you transfer to a different vendor, so let's say you want to switch to an Android, you'll have to get rid of all the apps that you had. You would have no use for the cable that you had. It kind of makes sense to keep just investing on Smartmatic, because it's already too late unless the people is willing to compromise and spend more money on a different platform. Because the vote counting machines, I'm not sure, but maybe we are reusing the same vote counting machines, and then hopefully that's what's happening, and we're just updating the software. And speaking of updating the software, in the previous trusted build that they demonstrated. They mentioned that the bug or the problem with they called it the transmission management software that prevented the display of election results to reporters. They've mentioned that they've corrected that issue or found a solution or a way to reduce the likelihood of that issue occurring. So based from the first trusted build that from what I saw in the what happened was the first hour was broken into the first hour was broken into 2 or 3 parts. First one was the formalities and introductions, and second one was the adjusting their cameras for the Zoom session, because people can't see the shell or the terminal. So this is the command prompt or the window where they will display where they can enter the commands to build the automated election system. And the third part was literally staring at the terminal, copy a file from a thumb drive to the target laptop, the building device. And the funny thing was when you do a copy from a shell from the command prompt, it doesn't do anything. There's no progress bar. But technically you can do it. There are ways to do it, but it looks like that the person demonstrating the build, he was given a script. There was even a time where he was writing the wrong command and they had to he was typing the wrong command and they had to start over. But I think it went well. I didn't get to finish the whole video, but yeah, that was it. And while they were also extracting the compressed package of the automated election software, I took note of some of the items that I saw while it was being extracted. So I know that they're using Git because that's the first thing that popped up, and they're also using Docker and the Apache HTTP web server, and it's also Java based, and they're also using MongoDB and also MySQL, and I saw a RabbitMQ library as well, and the Java runtime, and I think I also saw an Oracle library. I'm not sure. But they might be, but maybe that's because they're using the MySQL. Is MySQL Oracle now? But anyway, I did see an Oracle line there. And also just a disclaimer: the video was a bit blurry because it wasn't a direct screen recording. They had a camera pointed at the screen, so it was very blurry. And also the quality of the video stream of COMELEC was very bad. They also had Jenkins CI, the continuous integration software, and the last thing I saw was Maven. So Maven is a package manager for Java. What else is on the Smartmatic tech stack? So what I did was to get an idea of this. I looked for a job ad of Smartmatic. It's a bit dated. Let me see if I can still find it. Yes, so it's a bit dated. It's back from 2018. They had a job opening for a Java developer in I don't know what country is this. But anyway, they mentioned here they are using Spring. Spring is a framework for Java. So when you say a framework in terms of software development, it's a set of pre-built uh, lines of code that allows software developers to uh, code larger systems. Because for most of programming, you're actually just retyping a lot of code. So if you use a framework, it will let you do the task quicker. So that way you're not reinventing the wheel, like right. Like for example, if you want to program a clickable button, uh, you just use a framework to do that for you, and you can style it for all you want and all the varieties of the of that clickable button. Apart from Spring, uh, they are also. It says here they want the developers to have
Software and design
jQuery experience,
hotels. I am Jane Ines, your host for
Bootstrap,
today. This event is
and
currently live
Angular
streamed on the
JS. So
COMELEC
Angular
Facebook
is
page for the public to be given a
a
chance
front
to
end
take a look at the
library.
process. On
It can also be
December
used for
8,
back
we
end if I'm not
witnessed the
mistaken. And
turnover
Bootstrap
of the
is
trusted
a
build of the
CSS
automated election
framework.
system. On December 21, we
Yeah, the
witnessed
the
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 generation
COMELEC
of
stream
the
has officially
trusted build of
started.
the
Let me
transition.
just it's just introduction for now. So let me just lower the volume. Um, and Bootstrap is a CSS framework. It's for styling web pages, and that makes it quicker. And they're also using jQuery. So jQuery is a set of it's also a framework, but I would just call it a set of helper tools um, to develop to program web-based or browser-based code. Because when you develop a web-based interface, you'll have a front end and a back end. So the front end runs on the browser, and the back end runs on the server. So right now on the stream, they are showing they have a camera pointed at the people in I think the Diamond Hotel, and they're just introducing the people. So this will take a while. Let me see how I can patch the audio to the Twitter space. So just a moment.
Good morning, everyone. And now may we request the head of the steering committee, Commissioner Marlon S. Casquejo, for his opening remarks.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jack. Good morning, Dr. Franz. And to our participants, good morning. And to our viewers in our Facebook Live, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Today, as what the MC said, we will be conducting our final trusted build. This is the second trusted build of our two components, that is our CCS and the VCM. So there are improvements, or we have found some improvements that needs to be corrected when we conducted our field tests as well as our mock elections conducted last December. So as we have said earlier before, when we conduct our trusted build in Huntsville, Alabama, if there is a need to do the trusted build because of some issues which involve source code, then we need to do another trusted build. So this time, we are going to conduct another trusted build, but only for the two AES components. With regards to our EMS, there is no problem with our EMS that involves the configuration of our system. In our CCS, there are some issues to be resolved which involve source code. So that is why we need to do another trusted build, as well as in our vote counting machines. As to the details of those trusted build, need to be as to the details of those source code that will also be subjected to a local source code review. So the local source code review will know what are those changes or additional source code that we need to trusted build again. Okay, so with that, we welcome everyone for this another final trusted build for the 2022 national and local elections. Thank you very much and good morning.
Thank you, Commissioner Casquejo. And now to run us through the trusted build process and also tell us more about the process, let us call on Mr. Jack Cobb from Pro VNV. So Mr. Medlock will work on the VCM software first, and then Mr. Cobb will work on the CCS software. Mr. Cobb?
Yes, so today we're doing VCM, and that's the station that Hunter is sitting at currently. The VCM takes a long time to build, so we're going to try to get it fired off. And when we get it fired off, it just runs on its own for an additional 2 hours. So it's going to be time consuming. While that is occurring, we'll have it still on the screen so everybody can watch it. But I will take the projection and I will be working off of this laptop to build the CCS. And one of the questions that was asked last time for, I think it was the trusted build of the transmission router, was how log4j affected the system. And one of the reasons we're rebuilding CCS is there was a vulnerability that was found from log4j. So we are updating the libraries to a newer version that does not have that vulnerability in it. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over to Hunter to get started. And the first thing he's going to do is demonstrate that there is no bootable drive in the device. Yep, it's up. Okay, so there's no bootable device, and now we'll install Linux 1804 long-term. This one, that one will start. This one will go. And this will be completely done, and that one won't be done.
They they cut off the camera, so they were supposed to demonstrate something. Like I think it was a laptop that they were supposed to they're showing the laptop that they were gonna use to build the parts of the automated election system. So in the first trusted build, they showed the EMS part. So for today, they will demonstrate the build of they'll show the build of the VCM or the vote counting machine and the CCS.
And now he's going to go through the steps of actually installing Ubuntu.
Okay, so now they are showing a they have three cameras. So they were just setting up the stream. Now they have three cameras, one showing what's well, the first camera on the left is what's supposed to be shown on the screen, and there's a second camera pointed at the laptop that they are using, but which is good. This is an improvement from what they were doing last time, because now we can clearly see what's on the screen. Although right now they're using a projector and then a camera pointed at the projected screen, but it's a much clearer one. So good job, COMELEC. Thank you for doing that. Much appreciated. So by the way, they use Ubuntu as the underlying operating system. So right now they're just still in the process of installing Ubuntu.
This installation takes
So that's part of the
approximately 20 to 30
demonstration.
minutes. So from here, there's nothing really exciting to see except Ubuntu being installed.
I think I heard it was in the first build they mentioned Ubuntu 20. And to those watching and listening on Facebook and the other platforms apart from Twitter Space, the question was what version of Ubuntu they are using. So right now, the Ubuntu installer is copying files. So when we say a build, um, in software development, there is something called a build process where the human readable version of the code, actually the sim- the original term is compiling, but right now there are multiple tools, so it's called a build. When you build as a computer system, you program it with human readable code because the programmers are humans. And then, but for machines to understand the what actions it needs to execute or processes it needs to execute, it needs to be translated to um, computer code that to a language that um, or in a form that computers can read or understand. So this is the build process. So it includes multiple tools. Um, right now, already includes multiple tools and different platforms as well. Um, for example, one of the packages I saw that was being extracted in the previous trusted build was Docker. So Docker is a containerized I'll just call it a platform that allows software developers and maintainers to just ensure that their software runs in a similar environment. What that means is it will behave the same way, um, relatively the same way. I would say maybe 95, 98% the same way on the computer that you program it and the computer on where the
Ladies and
program will run
gentlemen,
on.
while the installation is going on, maybe call on Dr. Franz De Leon from the TEC to give us a short message and maybe gives a clear picture of what's going on, why the process is necessary, and what can we expect after this.
Hi, good morning everyone. Magandang umaga po sa lahat. So just a quick review of what TEC is and then describe the process that's happening now. So the TEC or the Technical Evaluation Committee is an independent committee created by RA 9369 for the purpose of certifying the automated election system, categorically stating that it is operating properly, securely, and accurately. So it is composed by representatives the ICT, represented by Director Antonio Edward Padre, and yours truly from the DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute. So as part of the certification process, the Smartmatic sent the source codes to Pro VNV for them to review. And based on the review, there were no critical or major issues that were found. So that's why we had the first trusted build back in the 3rd of December. And then as mentioned by Marlon, there were some enhancements and security patches that were done. That's why we're conducting this final trusted build today. So again, in the trusted build, what happens is that the human readable source codes are being converted into machine readable executable codes. And just to give an overview of the whole process, so first, the build environment is created in a clean computer that is not connected in any network. So that's what's being done by Hunter. And then later on, the reviewed source code for the voting system, as well as the pre-built dependencies, are placed in that build environment. But before we go to the actual building process, the file signatures of each of the source code modules are checked to verify that the codes were unchanged from the code that were previously reviewed prior to today's trusted build. And then finally, after the trusted build, which will take around 2 to 3 hours, file signatures or hashes will be produced for each of the files and other artifacts. And then these file signatures will be verified in further procedures to ensure that the files are unmodified. So all these hashes or file signatures will be made available to the public, specifically on the COMELEC's website for the public to see. So that's the whole trusted build process. And then what happens is, of course, on the side of the PEC, we will just monitor all the activities and make sure that all things are being done in accordance to our procedures. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Franz. So as said, after the process, we will be having the turnover of the trusted bill to the COMELEC, which Director Eliza David will be in charge on later on. So for now, sit back and watch the process. Thank you.
Okay, so they're gonna let us watch the laptop continue to copy files into from the thumb drive of where the election software is. What they said was it was about over 20 gigs, as from what I can remember from the last time. So apologies for the audio. The audio on the stream is from the stream is a little bit it's not good quality. But anyway, they've already just repeated what I've described, maybe in a more simpler way and clearer way in terms of the choice of words, but not for for my words, right? Um, okay, let me just all right, let me lower the volume. Okay. So they mentioned the hash sum that will be provided to COMELEC after the build. So what is a hash sum? So a hash sum is a result of a mathematical function. It's normally used to determine the uniqueness of a file or data. Um, so there are multiple. So when we say a hash function, there are steps to produce a sum of where it will be unique. So there are different types of hash functions, all on all that can guarantee a certain range of uniqueness for the sum. So what the output of this is also a numerical value, but it's or in it's a shorter form of the data. We can say it's a shorter form of the data that's going to be unique from so you can call it like a you can use this hash sum to verify that it is the same data there, meaning in this context you can use that hash sum to verify that the software running on the election software is the same that is being demonstrated to us on the trusted build. So they will be using the function that or the algorithm that they're gonna use is a SHA-256 algorithm, and it normally it's so like I said, it's a mathematical function, so it will be a number, but it can be shortened by another mathematical function, so it can be represent that number can be represented by numbers and letters. So the resulting uh, sum would be a combination of letters and numbers that is 64 characters long. So if when you vote on May, before you vote, you can visit the website of COMELEC. They will publish the hash sum of the software, and you can write it down on a piece of paper, and you can ask the COMELEC staff or the DepEd staff to show you the hash sum that's running on the software. The hash sum of the software that's running. It's a little bit strange. I would do a different kind of implementation. I can picture a better implementation where you can ensure, but it's a little inconvenient. The way I'm thinking is they take a hash sum of an image of the software that's about to be installed before they run the before they boot up the, for example, a vote counting machine. So you just insert a thumb drive with that image with that hash sum that's going to be calculated, that can be derived on the spot before they turn on the vote counting machine. But anyway, that's just it adds complication. So we'll just have to trust that the hash sum that's being displayed on the build on the screen of the vote counting machine, for example, is going to be the same. Hopefully, it's not programmable. And a question from the Twitter space we did the other night. Apparently, there was a code review, and there were some parties that signaled or gave their intention to do the code review. We'll try to look for somebody who did. And the other question that was asked was, were there any changes from the 2019 election? And what I said is, I am confident that there would be changes, and from what I suspected, I am correct, that they did make changes, and that is the improvement. One of them is the improvement to the transmission management software, which had a 7-hour glitch in 2019. So it is a welcome change. So I think it's nothing to worry about. I would like to give one more bit about Smartmatic. They do claim that they never have been hacked. And in 2020, when the United States ran their elections, it was also they also used Smartmatic software. If you look at the news, Donald Trump did claim, and Fox News as well did claim that they were cheated. And Smartmatic did resort to legal actions, and Fox News did indeed stop reporting that um, quote unquote fake news, and they had to replace the anchor, the news anchor as well. All right, so
Connor's going to be copying
okay,
all the
let me
code,
resume the audio.
artifacts and the source code onto the clean Ubuntu install.
So they completed installing Ubuntu. On the screen, they have a, a a a terminal window or a shell. Uh, or if you're a Windows user, like a command prompt. Hopefully, Comelec is listening and they can focus the screen better on, or the camera that's connected to the projector. Thank you. Looks like they noticed. Thank you so much.
What is being displayed on the screen right now is the SHA-256 value for the trusted build source, which is an encrypted tarball that has all the things necessary to build VCM.
So they're showing the hash sum that discussed earlier. So this ensures that
Okay.
when they build the software, it will produce the same hash function.
If
So
they've got
what
your
they're
needs,
saying is
take a
they've
picture.
already
Now's the time to
run
do
the
it,
build
'cause
themselves,
we're about to move
and it produced this hash sum of the software, of the resulting software, the machine readable software. That is the hash sum. So when they rebuild the software using this new computer that they just meaning by new, it didn't have an operating system before, and they're just re- reloading the source code of the software. The source code is the human readable software. Um, After they build it and then they run the hash sum function, it will result in the same 64 character string or 64 character text that they are showing right now. It's a little small, so I and also there's no point in reading it out loud. Hopefully they can uh, copy and paste that hash sum on the chat box. Comelec, I hope you are listening. Let me log into Facebook and comment on that.
I don't know how to do it. No.
Right. How do you comment?
It's gotta be a font. Go down to plain text down here.
Okay, they're still mucking around with the text file. I didn't catch what they're doing. I wasn't completely looking at the screen. Oh, they're trying to increase the text size on the text editor so we can see it. Anyway, thanks for I guess maybe they can hear us. Okay, let me write my comment. Maybe please request.
Yeah, copy it into terminal. Because in terminal, paste it right there. And
Okay, maybe request
enlarge the
that
terminal.
the hash sum be pasted on
Is that better?
here on the comments
Bigger
box.
font? Right click.
Thank you.
Maybe 2 sizes more.
Go up to 30.
So they're still adjusting the text on the terminal window. This is still not part of the actual build process. This is just for the benefit of
Right, so
us,
he's gonna
the
now
viewers,
copy,
so we can
that
see
into-
what's happening on
onto
the
the
screen.
device.
So what he did was just create a directory where he can put the source code of the automated election system. And if I'm not mistaken, it's specific to the vote counting machine and the CCS.
We're decrypting the source. We're copying it right now, but then it's gonna have to be decrypted and then it'll have to be unpacked.
Okay. And so this time they encrypted the source code. And again, CCS stands for Canvassing Consolidation Software. And VCM stands for Vote Counting Machine. Another good question that was asked in the Twitter space is if the automated election system fails to work or is unreliable, why don't we just, or should we switch back to a completely manually counted election? My opinion of that is we shouldn't, because it would be a massive step back. The way this automated election system works is there is a paper trail, so the ballot is still a paper ballot compared to, for example, in the other set of software that Smartmatic is selling. It's paperless, so you just vote with a computer, either with a touchscreen or a mouse or keyboard, and it will print out a ballot receipt for you. As opposed to our system, there is a paper ballot that um, uh, if you have the resources, you can build your own ballot scanner and recount all the ballots, all the paper ballots again. If you want to challenge the Smartmatic vote counting machine, you can recount the ballots using your own hardware and software. So they've copied the source code from the thumb drive into the hard drive of the laptop. And like the same from last time, somebody is just copying the commands letter by letter, which is fine, I guess, for demonstration purposes. Just longer. So normally, when for most programmers, with build tools, they are normally automated. You just run one command or three commands to build something. That depends on your tools and your stack, your technology stack. Looks like they're trying to copy again. Um, uh, Well, maybe request. I don't know if Comelec is listening, but I would like to request for them to pan the camera slightly or tilt it a little lower so we can see what the person is typing on the screen. Okay, so I've written a comment on the Comelec page. We've also requested. We've invited Chairman. Oh no, Commissioner Guanzon, COMELEC Commissioner Guanzon for another Twitter space. So she can speak more about the alleged hacking or vulnerability found in COMELEC servers or server.
The same hash. Where are you seeing that? Right there. And where is it in the screen?
So they said this might take 2 hours. I'm not sure if I can hang around for
Hashes are
2
the
hours.
same.
So the
So
encrypted file has the hash that we just displayed. That's the same hash.
okay, they've confirmed that it's the same hash that they copied on the thumb drive and also that was copied to the hard drive of the laptop that they just installed Ubuntu on. So now they are going to de-encrypt the source code of the automated election system. So the staff is now entering the password. And thankfully, they've showed the camera pointed at the keyboard, so we can replay that later and find out what the password is to the source code.
Extracted.
Yeah. The password doesn't show up on the screen, but you can replay the video and find out what the password to the source code is. So all you need is to get the source code, and you can, or not the source code, the encrypted source code, and you can decrypt the source code and build the automated election system software yourself. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, he is.
Two dashes. Okay.
Yeah.
Extract. It's extracting.
Yeah.
Trusted build.
But that's okay. I think that's a good thing. At least they can demonstrate that even a non-technical person can repeat the steps, and they can show that they've repeated the steps multiple times in such a way that it's very repeatable. They can just retype and retype the same series of commands, and they can build the software. But that although that doesn't mean that that would that you can that prevents tampering of the software. It's just that that means uh well documented the build process for them. So this is not programming. This is just building, or others may call it deployment. So they have a build script. They've already extracted it and de-encrypted and extracted it. So now they are running the build script.
You're gonna have to remember.
In the, on the screen, you could just asterisk like. Okay.
Just like a few minutes ago.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if there are reporters on site. In the last session, they had a Zoom room, and they had some reporters there, and they were
Just
also
to
taking
advise the
questions
public
from reporters.
our also to our viewers on Facebook that two cameras will be covered because the password will be inputted. So just an advisory, two cameras will be covered since the password will be inputted.
Yeah, then it's back to this. We can set this up. I can take the thing and start CCS.
All right. Well, we can do an analysis later on if it's a strong password, right? And hopefully they didn't write it on a piece of paper, and then somebody can just dumpster dive and find that piece of paper for the password or the encryption key.
It's like something just catastrophic.
That's the type.
We've never, in the 2 times we've done this, we've never used the bus.
This is the best way to do it.
Sir,
This is the way.
can you? Very good. Thank you. Sorry, thank you.
So I'm just trying to spread the link around. Hopefully more people can watch.
And then you can bring the new.
Mhm.
I think you have to do it the same.
I assume yes, because there's a wider support, or maybe there's because of maybe enterprise support from Canonical. That's just my assumption. Maybe. Because maybe they could ask Canonical to have a secure repo for them. Yeah, mag-Slackware na lang sila or Gen 2. Everything's from source. I don't know either. So for the benefit of those on Facebook, there was a question if why they picked Ubuntu as the distribution. So in Linux,
At this stage, it requires 3 passwords to be input, and it concatenates those 3 different passwords into the password. So Tom Marlin is going to input 1, Director Franz is going to input 1, and I'm going to input 1.
You're good. I don't see. They changed
Right.
it.
So there are 3 passwords that that needs to be entered by 3 different people. So unfortunately, the idea of dumpster diving for that password isn't gonna work. So Linux is as an operating system, it has multiple flavors called distributions. One of the popular ones is called Ubuntu. There's also Red Hat, a publicly traded brand, also company in the U.S. stock exchange. And Canonical is the company that's supporting Ubuntu. So Ubuntu comes in multiple flavors. You can even install it on your own laptop, and I think there are some laptops that are being sold that come pre-installed with Ubuntu already. And there is also a version of Ubuntu built designed for servers.
We've got a little bit of housekeeping to take care of, and then we'll start the CCS build.
You can read it off. Log it.
So it looks like they're just running a synaptic upgrade just to update the packages on the laptop.
Our live streamer.
Oh, it's a local repo. So it's they started their own local. There's a local synaptic repo running on the machine.
Laptop ni Hunter. So ito, lalagyan na ito sa live stream. Mamaya kasi mag-CCS na si
Yeah. Type in the password. Right now, password. Oh, and in the document. Hash document. Oh.
On my work machine now is no longer a Linux machine. But if I were to use a Linux machine as my work machine now, it would be Arch. I last used Arch, and that was in I think 2012 or
You have
2011.
that one going?
And everything just worked magically. Imagine from 10 years ago, everything just for a laptop, right? Everything just worked. For example, I went to Tokyo and it didn't have the hotel didn't have Wi-Fi, but they did have an Ethernet port with a super fast internet connection. So uh but I wanted internet on my phone. So what I did was when I got into the room, I would plug in my laptop to the Ethernet port and start a hotspot, a private hotspot using my laptop. And I just needed to install the network manager package, and everything was pretty much point and click. So even as
Ladies and
how
gentlemen, we
complicated
will be
Arch was
switching the
before, at
screens
that
you
point it
are
was
currently
already
seeing from the VCM screen to the CCS screen. So basically, we are going to be switching laptops from the VCM to the CCS.
It will still be on that camera. PC still will be.
Although the VCM screen will still be seen on the will still be
Yeah.
live streamed on Facebook.
But once you get it set up, it runs really fast because it's really slim and it's built for your machine, and you can actually
Change
reprogram
ka
it
ng
so
ano,
it
yung mas
runs really
malinaw na
fast.
camera
So Arch Linux is
for
another
the
distribution of
for the
Linux,
VCM
like
laptop.
Ubuntu.
Lagay mo sa ano, ilagay mo sa right. Yung nasa gitna, palitan mo.
Okay. I think now the COMELEC personnel is entering their part of the password. So they've hidden the screen for now. And they turned off the sound, so maybe the other lady is dictating the password to the other person. Just my guess, but I don't know. Anyway, the other person was a person from Smartmatic, and the third person is the foreigner in the video. But I think in the actual build, I don't know who it's going to be, but this might be the actual build. Yeah. But they will be giving the hash today, so it might be it. So it's still updating. They've finished entering the password, so now it's continuing to install the dependencies of the vote counting machine and the canvassing and cost consolidation software. So going back from the previous trusted build, the previous part of the trusted build, what I saw was Docker, the Apache HTTP server, web server, the Java runtime environment, Mongo, MongoDB, MySQL, another database engine, RabbitMQ, normally used for it's a messaging queue, um, and Oracle. I saw an Oracle library, but I couldn't see what specifically. There's also Jenkins, Maven, and Git. So for those watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, we also have a Twitter space, so you can look me up or Makati House on Twitter, and you can join the Twitter space. They appear to be setting up another laptop. I don't know what for. May request COMELEC if they can hear that. We cannot hear what the person is saying on the microphone. Yes, go ahead. Okay. Yep, it's still updating. Like I said, the build process can be done completely offline. It seems, because everything, um, all the dependencies and the software included is already in the thumb drive that they used to build. So in theory, the build process is air gapped. In the previous demonstration, they showed that the laptop that they used was not connected to Wi-Fi. And this is important because that ensures that the surface attack vectors, or the attack surface is smaller in case there are outside attackers waiting to take advantage. So it looks like it's done copying the packages, and it's starting to extract the other software that's required by the automated election software. So this is a pretty much automated process. So far, the only manual step that they've shown in this part was to start the script and enter the 3 passwords. Let me just ask on the COMELEC um, chat box what the other laptop is for. Um, that as far as I can tell, it's not yet the final statement of what Commissioner Guanzon said. The official statement, as far as I know, or as from what I understand, is they are still finishing the report, and I think it was just Commissioner Guanzon's personal statement. Right. So from the Twitter space, w- um, somebody is asking for your opinions on Commissioner Guanson's statement that the COMELEC hack was fake news. On another note, the National Privacy Commission has requested or summoned the Manila Bulletin, and specifically Art Samaniego and COMELEC. And I think maybe the ICT as well. I can't remember. And they will have a hearing on the 25th. So it will be we'll have a bit more of news for the next 2 weeks regarding this alleged hacking or vulnerability. So the first machine, so now they have two computers. The second computer is being installed with Ubuntu. Um and right now it's the package management software of the operating system of Ubuntu is still running. It's currently unpacking the packages. In order to save space, they were originally um, compressed. And also they do come with a hash sum of their own to ensure integrity of each software package. They've cut the stream right now. I'm just gonna mute for a brief moment. Let me just put some food in my mouth and drink a glass of water. Hello. Okay, they resumed the video stream and audio, it seems.
Hindi na.
I'm gonna put them up on the screen, these. This is from this stuff. We're just gonna go right here.
Previously when this is happening, they had a Q&A session. I don't know why they're not doing that today.
Ito na.
Yeah. Um also in the previous session, the half of the people were in the US, and looks like everybody now is here in the Philippines in the Diamond Hotel. So unfortunately, I didn't get to take note what time the they started running the build script, so we won't get an estimate of how long the build process takes. But they did say it would take about 2 hours. So for anyone tuned in on the other platforms, feel free to send a comment and we'll try to address them.
To transfer the transmission router that was built in Huntsville, Alabama to COMELEC. So. To transfer the transmission router that was built in Huntsville, Alabama. This is the trusted build drive. The transmission router. And this is the SHA-256 hash. I'm going to put it into the terminal so that we can all see it. And this is the hash value for a transmission router.
Okay, now they're building another software of the automated election system. They call it a transmission router.
Okay, and that
Hindi ka
drive
may adjust.
is going to be ejected. And that should be the hash value that was from the December 21st build. And I'm going to turn this over. And then the second housekeeping we ought to do is the DNS janitor.
Okay, I think they're rebuilding they
And
already
the
built
DNS
this
janitor is not
transmission
actually
router.
built. It's a collection of scripts that are in human readable format, and they were submitted to me, and we created a encrypted zip drive, encrypted zip that is password protected. And this is the SHA-256 that travels with it. That is password protected. And this is the SHA-256 that travels with it.
Okay. I think this was part of the previous public build, trusted build, and they're just repeating the build right now.
So that's the DNS janitor. So those two have been turned over to COMELEC and will be sealed and when we get the CCS and the VCM back. With that,
So-
I'm going to start the process of building CCS.
Okay.
With that, I'm going to start the process of building CCS.
Okay, now he's gonna start the build of
This is the
the
source code.
CCS, which
And
is short
build artifacts.
for the canvassing and consolidation software.
This is-
So just a side note, in 2016, some Smartmatic employees and as well as staff of or members of COMELEC were tried for a criminal case of
This takes about 2 minutes.
illegally updating the automated election software. Although they did say that the change was cosmetic and just correcting a name of a running candidate. But the ruling stated that the nature of or the in the nature of the intent is irrelevant because the action was still a crime by law.
This goes to, okay, and this is, doesn't have, it is code itself. It's not like.
So Smartmatic is currently headquartered in the UK, and they claim to have run their software in 5 continents. So the first laptop is still decompressing the operating system packages. I wonder if this laptop has SSD, or could it be a better computer that can run this faster? And on the second computer, it's still copying the source code of the CCS from the thumb drive to the hard drive of the second laptop. I'm not sure if he demonstrated that this laptop isn't connected to Wi-Fi. It possibly isn't because I saw them adjusting the date and time. When it's connected, it would normally connect to a time server with an atomic clock and synchronize automatically.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess because there is a balance.
Yeah, something happened to our server. We tried to change the power supply and it just constantly reboots. Yeah. Well, here, I'm just gonna line it up. Okay, forward me, that's fine. Yeah, mine's actually pretty easy.
Okay, so now the actual installation of the operating system packages are now running on the first laptop. As you can, for those who can see the video, it says configuring.
Okay, that command is completed.
And the first laptop is on the middle right
That command is completed.
part and
Now
the
I'm going to
lower
check
right.
the source code.
So on the second laptop, the source code has been copied to the laptop.
And
So now he's going to extract the source code. And this source code doesn't look like it's encrypted. So there's no password to show to us at this point for this phase. So he's running the hash function on the compressed file just to ensure that it is
And now we're gonna check the
the same.
SHA-256 value to make sure it's the correct value that goes with the code. And now we're gonna check for the SHA-256 value to make sure it's the correct value that goes with the code.
So due to the size of the file, the hash function will take a while as well.
We got the okay from this build, and from the check of the SHA-256, so we'll continue on. Got the okay from this build, and from the check of the SHA-256.
Okay. Yeah, so we got a confirmation that the source code had the same hash sum
Now the code is
that they had
extracted.
on file.
Code is extracted.
So here we can see what software that they have. Now it's clearer. It does say Oracle 18.tar. Or is that i8?
Oh, last time. Things go well. When Jenkins launches, we might go to the 12:30 lunch. All right. Maybe. Let's hope Jenkins launches. I'm on board for 18. And Oracle 12. After that comes into, right? Into, and that's the last one, big ones. Sure. Could make you feel better. Another, because there's another couple of.
Okay, so these are actually Docker images that are that will be decompressed. And in the previous session, I did see a Docker compose file. So as I said earlier, Docker is another piece of software for containerizing an environment. Wildfly is an application server. And we can see the Apache web server as well. And Mongo again. And now we can see that they do have the the Ubuntu repositories there compressed. So when you say a container for Docker, you're creating like another virtual computer within your own computer. So this is what software developers normally use to make it simpler for deployment. That way, your code would run the same way, um, nearly the identical way on the computer that you're programming it on, and also on the program where it will run. Sorry, because the reason for this is when you test your software, you will test it on your on a different computer's environment, and you would run it on a different environment as well in production. So the decompression has completed. So we can see the Jenkins configuration files as well, and the tasks that are there. And this we're talking about the second computer that has the CCS. So CCS is short for canvassing and consolidation software. And the first laptop is building the VCM, short for vote counting machine. So the VCM is the machine that you will see at the polling sites. So I'm reading a Manila Times article published on February 20th, 2019 about source code review findings. I'll just read it out loud. Let me see. I think I saw some commentary here. Anyway, the source code review in 2019, these were presented. Stored procedure. Okay. They're saying the stored procedures were not included in the source code review in 2019. And the commentary here is it can be changed when it runs in the actual election, which can be a vulnerability. So the comment is the stored procedures should have been included in the source code review. And this was for 2019.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, just go. Keep going. All right, so next step.
One comment is in the VCM. The VCM will store a scanned copy of the ballot, but it will have red markings indicating what the OCR software. OCR is short for optical character recognition. or well, actually, it's not characters that they're trying to recognize, but the markings on the ballot.
This,
So on the
this doesn't
VCM,
work
it
for
will
me.
store a
This
snapshot
is
of the
10,
ballot
20,
that is scanned, but
69,
it is marked
and launches
already
Jenkins.
the
Jenkins doesn't
processed
come up.
version. So what
The very beginning.
the
It's only happened
the
one time. on All our tests.
the author of
But that one
this
time,
report, Lito Averia, what he is saying is that
10 months ago, before the
a
very
copy
first
of
vote,
the original image
yeah, it's
of
like,
the ballot
they
should be
had
stored in the
order there.
VCM,
Like, the order just didn't launch
the vote
Jenkins. So
counting
when I
machine.
just typed in the local host got 8080, it's not there. What? Yeah, this is one of the worst hourglass kind of things. The 10 for 20 minutes, and it goes to 20, and to 69.
So in 2019, the source code review did not include the transmission router based on this report. So I don't know if there was a succeeding source code review of the transmission router in 2019. I have to look that up. And just to recap, for those who are voting in the Philippines, to ensure that the vote counting machine has the authentic software running, that it is not tampered, you should, before you go to the polling site, to the election to your election precinct, you should go to the website of COMELEC and copy the hash sum of the vote counting machine. So if you want to ensure that the vote counting machine is not tampered, you should write that down, and then when you get to the election precinct, you can ask the polling staff, or are they called officers? You can ask them to show you the hash sum of the VCM that is running, and it should match letter by letter. The 64 characters of the hash sum of the VCM should match. But the fastest way to do it, if you're in a hurry, you can just check and compare maybe the last 4 or 6 characters and the first few characters of the hash sum. So it will be represented. Usually, the hash sum is represented by a combination of letters and numbers. The letters A through F, and 0 to 9. So if you see other letters in the hash sum on the vote counting machine apart from A through F, that would be an invalid hash sum, unless they specify that the hash sum is um being represented in a different format, because it is possible to display the hash sum in a different format. It can be in binary form, or say base 26 that can show more characters, or base 64. So the first laptop is starting to um I think we're close to for the first laptop to finish updating the operating system. And the second laptop appears to be doing the same. Unfortunately, what they did here is they made the build system more opaque, so we don't know what's going on behind. It just shows a progress bar up to 20% right now, with a text
Where do you
that's
see the
saying that
stage stuff come up?
it's loading
Huh?
required images.
It'll like randomly pop up.
Where do you see the stage stuff?
It's like when it gets done with one thing, it'll say like stage one, and go to the next thing. It's like
So far, it's been going good. We haven't seen any tampering of. We haven't seen any inconsistencies. The only fault that we saw is they had the camera pointed at the keyboard while somebody was entering the encryption key of the source code. But that doesn't matter, because that means only somebody can see the source code, which is good. If it gets leaked, more people can openly review the source code of the system. It's good for us, but not good for Smartmatic.
That's true. That's true. 2 o'clock. What time do you think you fire? 11:30 and 10:30.
it's like I can give you. Yeah, give or take.
So 1:30, we should, I think we should. Do we have the policy service? Oh, we're 62. When we get to 90, we start crossing fingers.
Jeff,
Yes,
just gonna ask, around what time is the
that takes 3.5 hours.
at least
At least, we started at 10:30, so I would guess 1:30 to 2, that one will be done. This one will be done in the next 30 minutes.
so because an hour before we finish, we're gonna call Director Bart. So because come.
Oh, so when there's 1 hour left?
Yeah, no, it's after if there's a 1 hour.
Okay, well, we're at the 70, we're about to go to 90. This one is not the problem.
We're just estimating.
Can you get over here and see if you can catch the package?
See if I can see where we're at.
Yeah, see where we're at.
Okay, the second laptop now says 75%, with a text saying deploying resources.
What do you know that?
So I assume the
Something
transmission
hard.
router is a smaller piece of software, and this might be a prerequisite of the CCS.
We'll talk comes to like an hour. I still haven't finished stage.
I hadn't seen you. I'm trying to catch it. We're at 90. Okay, here we go, Bronze.
Okay. The transmission router has completed its deployment. And on the second laptop, you can see the interface a little blurry, quite blurry. I'm not sure if this is the CCS or the EMS, short for election management software. So this is their build tool, web-based build tool. So this is the actual build process for the CCS. So I think they're about to serve lunch at the Diamond Hotel, paid for by the people of the Philippines. Maybe. And maybe hopefully in part by Smartmatic.
That's complete. And now we go to the CCS installer. So now. Still going. The next one is the long one. The next one's 12 minutes, and then the last one's 8 minutes. But these are all like 1 minute. The next one is the long one. The next one's 12 minutes. And the last one is 1 minute. This is the big one. The 2.3 is a Philippine CCS, and it's like 12 minutes. And the last one is the OS, and it's like 8 minutes. Then it's copy everything over.
Well, I can't hear the speaker very well. He said, I think what I heard, the remaining two components of the CCS will take 20 minutes to build.
This one's complete. Now for the well.
It looks like there are 5 components, but I really can't see what they are.
Parameters. Build. I got 5 till. The PC, I've got 1151.
Okay.
Or 1157, I'm sorry. So, 10 after, that one should be built. What is it? Fried pork. Fried pork? Fried. Deep fried pork. What's that one?
So just to recap, the automated election software uses an operating system called Linux. It's an open source operating system. So a computer operating system is the base software that runs your computer. So other operating systems that you might have heard of includes Windows or Mac OS. And even your smartphone has an operating system. It would be called iOS or iPad OS or Android. There's quite a lot of packages that the VCM software is installing and setting up. Um, but at least it's continuing to move. That's a good thing. It's not stuck. So for if you want to know more about hash sums, you can look up hashing algorithms and security as explained by computer file. And that's computer file with a PH. It's a good explanation of how hash sums work. So they're doing something on the second computer, but there's no explanation of what it is. So it looked like a reboot or something. Oh, looks like it's still building. There is a progress bar at the lower left um, of the computer that's building the CCS software. It looks like it's about 50% through. So for Ara and Rin on Twitter Spaces that have joined us, do you have any questions? Feel free to DM them to me, or you can request to speak. Looks like that the update of the OS on the first computer has completed, and it is starting to compile software. The actual conversion of human readable code to machine executable machine executable code, machine readable code, or machine instructions.
No, I'm getting this done. We're almost done. With this one.
Time for easy.
Okay, make it clean. So it's continuing to build and running some automated
This
scripts.
next one, they've got 8 minutes. We copy it one.
But we're not going to input our passwords.
That goes to like the board of canvassers and all that stuff.
After this, are we going to test this?
Going to the warehouse. Everything's going to the warehouse. I've got a copy of everything you got a copy of. I'm gonna make another copy of this and an extra copy of that. So I'll give you a copy. We're taking that and it's all hidden in the warehouse. Well, it is. Today it's past probably 1 or 2 o'clock. We got water tomorrow. But we're gonna make sure everything works. So I wouldn't submit this until you get to the warehouse on Saturday. I don't know when you're planning.
We're going to see it.
Oh, you see it. It's just, I wouldn't put it in until Saturday, at least Saturday. So we can install it. That'll save you a trip. How did we find out who it was?
This one with the computer system. What it did is between the laptop and the using the verification. So
They're remote, so
and then we download those files.
so it's not even a hack, it's somebody that keep up with the first kid's laptop.
And bring the laptop to the
How did he get the laptop?
It's the problem.
Did he work for them?
It's working. It's on the code.
Oh, they got that problem again. And everything that he had is tested because he keeps it for those stuff.
You can get the stuff.
So what are the newspapers doing? What's Manila Bulletin say? Are they doing the tracking?
Nothing.
Is he legal? Is he legally in trouble?
He's leaving.
I mean, I know he can sue, that's not that.
But it's like those different keys. Right now it's just at home. this isolation stuff is exposed if they COVID positive. Has no idea.
Yes, no, I didn't know. Did all the research, I mean, investigation.
Because the smart card, we were able to make the system using the and it's easy to change. It's using the
Yeah.
So the automated election system cost the Philippines 452,522,000 pesos. So and also 43 centavos. So nearly half a billion pesos.
So now we're going to
it's the
verify.
Can you please transfer to the to see the state? So, but it doesn't show in the light because it doesn't show in the light stream.
Okay, so I can tell complete. Go by this one. Down here, this one. The complete, I can leave it over there.
Yeah.
So it says it's got just this little thing. I think it doesn't work for me. So I'll leave it there for a little while.
It looks like the first laptop is now compiling or building the kernel of the operating system. When you say kernel, this is the very brains of the computer. This controls the processes that runs on the VCM or the computer itself.
Actually, I'll see how many people. Are coming.
So the updated the updated cost of the automated election system is actually 402 million pesos. This was the revised approved budget. And 5% was paid to Smartmatic on April 12th. amounting to 20,136,278 pesos.
One last one. And did you ask her about getting the Yeah, sure. I'll be around. Where we that's what. I think we're about to be there on stage 2 or 3. 2 or 3. Hopefully 3. But you're halfway. I think we're about to be there on stage 2 or 3. 2 or 3.
So, in the contract, COMELEC will be the owner of the system, subsystems, scripts, and other related applications enumerated in an annex of the contract. But Smartmatic will continue to be the copyright owner of the base software defined elsewhere in the contract. So if there is a delay in the delivery of the automated election software, Smartmatic will get 1%, will be penalized up to 1%, if I understand this correctly. For each day, 1% for each day until the AES or the automated election system is delivered and accepted by the COMELEC. The contract was signed on May 5th, 2021. So they have about a year to prepare for the next elections. I'll just be on mute first on Twitter Spaces, and we'll share a few messages from friends of Makati House.
In collaboration with Light of Hope PH, kami sa VHC, mao ni ang atong sister city sa Haarlemmermeer dito sa Holland, o ang opisina nato sa city government nitabang yun to promote this kind of project, kay nakita nato nga very useful kaini sa mga marginalized communities, because we are promoting a clean, safe and sustainable source of energy, no, sa atong mga poor communities. So niata karon diri sa Pulang Bato, we are assisting the team of Light of Hope para installar ang atong solar panel nga project.
Salamat kayo sa kanang Light of Hope. Salamat tigdako kay ninyo aning solar nga inyong paabot diri sa Tuburan, sitio Tuburan, Gangan, Pulang Bato.
Nalipay kay ko sir nga natauran mig solar nga naaning-aning kay sa panahon karon nga wa may kuryente diri nya magmudjol mi magabi na nami magamit suga.
Daghang salamat and more power to Light of Hope.
Thank you, Haarlemmermeer!
At Cora, we believe that when people come together, anything is possible. From our humanitarian missions to our programs to help protect the environment, sustainability has always been at the forefront of all that we do, and our volunteers have been at the heart of every positive impact. Selfless heroes, serving as frontliners, especially during these most challenging times.
Thank you! Thank you ng marami.
From our humble beginnings with friends and family members, our missions have brought us to where we are today, working with local communities, schools and the youth, the Philippine government, and various private sector brands in order to create a better world for people and the planet. Cora's mission to beat plastic pollution has brought together thousands of volunteers year after year to help clean our Philippine coastlines and seas, inspiring many others with a powerful force of unity and collective action, particularly our work at the Las Piñas Parañaque Critical Habitat and Ecotourism Area, or El Pipicea.
We want to thank all the volunteers for taking the time, the effort, for waking up so early. Picking up the trash means so much.
While cleaning our coasts do not provide a realistic solution to the plastic pollution crisis, it must be done. And while the urgent need exists to recover the plastics littering our environment, concrete solutions require systemic change, business unusual, and of course, action from all of us. With the invaluable support of USAID, the leadership of the Parañaque City government, along with private sector partners and local citizens, Cora is on a mission to help create sustainable cities that work together towards circular communities. Because waste truly isn't waste until we waste it. We're going to do our best. The mission? To divert waste from landfills by empowering women champions working in waste management at the Parañaque City Materials Recovery Facility, as we work together to guide local citizens on the most effective ways to reduce their carbon footprint while transforming unsustainable lifestyles. All this as we turn waste into products of worth through the power of community segregation, composting, and recycling. With simple yet powerful actions, together we can strengthen waste management systems even in the most populated and progressive cities of the Philippines and neighboring nations, leading us all into a healthy, inclusive, and sustainable future with
Clean City, Blue Ocean!
In collaboration with Light of Hope PH, kami sa VHC, mao ni ang atong sister city sa Haarlemmermeer dito sa Holland, o ang opisina nato sa city government nitabang yun to promote this kind of project, kay nakita nato nga very useful kaini sa mga marginalized communities because we are promoting clean, safe, and sustainable source of energy, no, sa atong mga poor communities. So niata karon diri sa Pulang Bato, we are assisting the team of Light of Hope para installar ang atong solar panel nga project.
Salamat kaayo sa kanang Light of Hope. Salamat kay dako kay ninyo aning solar nga inyong paabot diri sa Tuburan, sitio Tuburan, Gangan, Pulang Bato.
Nalipay kay ko sir nga natauran mig solar nga naaning-aning kay sa panahon karon nga wa mi kuryente diri nya. Magmudyo mi magabi na nami magamit suga.
Daghang salamat and more power to Light of Hope.
Thank you, Haarlemmermeer!
At Cora, we believe that when people come together, anything is possible. From our humanitarian missions to our programs to help protect the environment, sustainability has always been at the forefront of all that we do, and our volunteers have been at the heart of every positive impact. Selfless heroes, serving as frontliners, especially during these most challenging times.
Thank you! Thank you ng marami.
From our humble beginnings with friends and family members, our missions have brought us to where we are today, working with local communities, schools and the youth, the Philippine government, and various private sector brands in order to create a better world for people and the planet. Cora's mission to beat plastic pollution has brought together thousands of volunteers year after year to help clean our Philippine coastlines and seas, inspiring many others with a powerful force of unity and collective action, particularly our work at the Las Piñas Parañaque Critical Habitat and Ecotourism Area, or El Pipicea.
We want to thank all the volunteers for taking the time, the effort, for waking up so early. Picking up the trash means so much.
While cleaning our coasts do not provide a realistic solution to the plastic pollution crisis, it must be done. And while the urgent need exists to recover the plastics littering our environment, concrete solutions require systemic change, business unusual, and of course, action from all of us. With the invaluable support of USAID, the leadership of the Parañaque City government, along with private sector partners and local citizens, Cora is on a mission to help create sustainable cities that work together towards circular communities. Because waste truly isn't waste until we waste it. We're going to do our best. The mission? To divert waste from landfills by empowering women champions working in waste management at the Parañaque City Materials Recovery Facility, as we work together to guide local citizens on the most effective ways to reduce their carbon footprint while transforming unsustainable lifestyles. All this as we turn waste into products of worth through the power of community segregation, composting, and recycling. With simple yet powerful actions, together we can strengthen waste management systems even in the most populated and progressive cities of the Philippines and neighboring nations, leading us all into a healthy, inclusive, and sustainable future with
Green City, Blue Ocean!
Okay. Something is going on, and it doesn't look like they're explaining what's going on. There was a thumb drive removed and reinserted. So I'm writing a comment on the COMELEC page. Hopefully, they do get addressed. And the first computer is continuing to build the vote counting machine. And it appears they are copying. Okay, it looks like what they did on the second computer was just the transmission router. And they replaced the thumb drive with the CCS source code, it appears. So it's possible that the transmission router software was on a different thumb drive and the CCS source code on a different thumb drive. But we will not know until we get the clarification from the COMELEC or Smartmatic. And currently there's no audio coming from the live stream of COMELEC. Okay, so we're seeing parts of the VCM that are written in the C programming language. They're being converted to um, machine readable instructions. It is a process called compiling. As you can see, I can clearly see on the table where the CCS laptop has there are two thumb drives. There's a red one in front of the laptop. So unless Smartmatic confirms what it is, we'll need to know if it is tampering, manipulation, or something else. Or is it the source code of the CCS and the previous was just the source? The previous thumb drive was containing the source code of the transmission router source code itself. Okay, so now the VCM is building its web-based scripts or code. You can see it says Node.js. So this is a server-side version of the JavaScript language. And earlier it wrote npm and yarn, which are package managers for Node.js. So it appears to be now compiling the source code for the hardware. I've seen entries for the printer, the GSM modem, the scanner, the touch screen, and even I think an audio driver.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be switching the laptop cameras as Mr. Jacob will start shredding the VCM trusted build. Once again, we will be switching the laptop cameras as Mr. Jacob will start shredding the VCM trusted build. Once again, we will be switching the laptop cameras as Mr. Jacob will start shredding the VCM trusted build.
So the shredding process was something they described in the previous trusted build. I forgot the purpose was for.
Correction, Mr. Jacob will start shredding the CCS trusted build. Correction, Mr. Jacob will start shredding the CCS trusted build. Correction, Mr. Jacob will start shredding the CCS trusted build.
Okay. So it's the trusted sorry, the CCS that it's gonna be shredded. And not the VCM. The VCM is the other laptop that has the activity. Okay, now it's back to Node, and it was doing some cleanup earlier. So what they're doing on the CCS laptop is they are copying the output produced by their build tool, I assume. It's being copied to the thumb drive, and it just finished. That's on the CCS um, laptop, the second one. Looks like the build process on the VCM is also done. Is almost almost done. It is now linking the compiled files. This means like compiled files when it's linked, it's putting all the compiled objects together. Since the VCM software is composed of multiple uh, software that's being patched in together. So all the other parts of the software we will be able to communicate to each other. Okay, he's verified that the CCS laptop has completed copying the files. Sometimes it is normal to see warning messages in the build process, as you can see in the VCM machine that's building the image for the VCM. Hopefully it's not stuck. But it does say it is linking, so this is more of the um actual this might be dependent on hard disk activity. So on the CCS laptop, they are comparing the hash sums again. Another VCM is building a web-based application with the Chrome or Chromium browser wrapped around it. It's using a framework or a package called Electron. So this allows desktop app developers to program desktop apps using web-based frameworks and languages and tools. So we will be ending our stream in about 4 minutes. And we will just post an update based on the recording of the COMELEC live stream. Although it looks like they're nearly done as well. So on the CCS laptop, they are copying the files again to the thumb drive. Okay. It is now 1 p.m. in Manila. And we'll conclude our watch party for now, and we will just update through our social media channels on what on the results and the published hash sum of the vote counting machine and the CCS, which stands for canvassing and consolidation software. So again, thank you for tuning in to Makati House. My name is JP, and I am signing off. Have a good day, and see you again soon.
In collaboration with Light of Hope PH, kami sa VHC, mao ni ang atong sister city sa Haarlemmermeer dito sa Holland, o ang opisina nato sa city government nitabang gyud to promote this kind of project, kay nakita nato nga very useful kaini sa mga marginalized communities, because we are promoting a clean, safe and sustainable source of energy, no, sa atong mga poor communities. So niata karon diri sa Pulang Bato, we are assisting the team of Light of Hope para installar ang atong solar panel nga project.
Salamat kayo sa kanang Light of Hope. Salamat tig dako kay ninyo aning solar nga inyong paabot diri sa Tuburan, sitio Tuburan, Gangan, Pulang Bato.
Nalipay kay ko sir nga natauran mig solar nga naaning-aning kay sa panahon karon nga wa may kuryente diri nya. Magmudjol mi magabi na nami magamit suga.
Daghang salamat and more power to Light of Hope.
Thank you, Haarlemmermeer!
At Cora, we believe that when people come together, anything is possible. From our humanitarian missions to our programs to help protect the environment, sustainability has always been at the forefront of all that we do, and our volunteers have been at the heart of every positive impact. Selfless heroes, serving as frontliners, especially during these most challenging times.
Thank you! Thank you ng marami.
From our humble beginnings with friends and family members, our missions have brought us to where we are today, working with local communities, schools and the youth, the Philippine government, and various private sector brands in order to create a better world for people and the planet. Cora's mission to beat plastic pollution has brought together thousands of volunteers year after year to help clean our Philippine coastlines and seas, inspiring many others with a powerful force of unity and collective action, particularly our work at the Las Piñas Parañaque Critical Habitat and Ecotourism Area, or El Pipicea.
We want to thank all the volunteers for taking the time, the effort, for waking up so early. Picking up the trash means so much.
While cleaning our coasts do not provide a realistic solution to the plastic pollution crisis, it must be done. And while the urgent need exists to recover the plastics littering our environment, concrete solutions require systemic change, business unusual, and of course, action from all of us. With the invaluable support of USAID, the leadership of the Parañaque City government, along with private sector partners and local citizens, Cora is on a mission to help create sustainable cities that work together towards circular communities. Because waste truly isn't waste until we waste it. We're going to do our best. The mission? To divert waste from landfills by empowering women champions working in waste management at the Parañaque City Materials Recovery Facility, as we work together to guide local citizens on the most effective ways to reduce their carbon footprint while transforming unsustainable lifestyles. All this as we turn waste into products of worth through the power of community segregation, composting, and recycling. With simple yet powerful actions, together we can strengthen waste management systems even in the most populated and progressive cities of the Philippines and neighboring nations, leading us all into a healthy, inclusive, and sustainable future with Clean City Blue